And you just said multiple things that take you through a whole week.
Yeah.
So, like one day you could post a happy review. And literally like screen grab that from the place that they left the review, post it as an image probably, right?
Yeah.
And then say, always happy to have these amazing clients and leave it at that.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Easy. That takes like 30 seconds.
Next day you could post a listing. It doesn't have to be your listing. It can be someone else's listing if you want to ask the listing agent for permission to do so. But post a pretty listing that's going to get some clicks. Drive them to your website if you have one. If not, heck, you can drive them to your board of realtors site. Wherever you can potentially grab a lead or at least provide some value on a pretty listing. The next day, a market update video. Hey, this is what's going on in the market. These are the average prices. This is the average sales price. This is the average days on market, all of those things. You had mentioned one day for your social media plan, you could just say, on Thursdays, I'm just going to go inject some value into a group.
Bingo.
Like I'm not even going to say anything about myself, but I'm going to surf these groups and say, hey, where can I make a recommendation on something that I know?
Yep.
And then the next day, a pretty photo of a house or something that can be done with a house, like, hey, check out this bathroom remodel or a renovation. A just sold, you'd mentioned that. Hey, we just sold this house. There's your next day. And then a real estate trends photo for next day. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We just told you 7 days worth of stuff. Seriously, you could
content
probably...
calendar's done. There you go.
You could probably take that and you could probably say, we'll do this every week and just like rotate it.
Yeah.
I'll post reviews on Mondays.
And the beauty of that is if you see one of those things not doing well at all and you've been doing this for a month, cut that out and try something new and keep trying something new.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Relaunch Real Estate Podcast. I am here today with Jared Hay. Jared Hay is a friend of mine and a digital marketing expert who's helped us with some things here at our brokerage, and I know that he is a wealth of knowledge. So, Jared, welcome, my friend.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Tell us how you got into digital marketing, where you're from, where you live, your family, the whole thing.
Cool. So I'm from Indianapolis, from the west side. Went to Ben Davis High School. Really proud of that. Glad that we're here on the west side, a little further out in Plainfield. But I got started with digital marketing with a journalism degree. So I got my master's in journalism. And I decided, print media is dying, because it was. And I decided social media is the future and it's where it's going. And this was in like 2010, 2011. And so from there, I focused on social media, transitioned a little to digital advertising, a little bit of digital marketing. But social media was my true love. And that is what I will hang my hat on. I've been with companies like Angie's List, Indianapolis Monthly. Oh boy, I've been all over the place. I've been at a digital agency called The Basement with a lot of different clients there. So I've been my fair share of folks, but I also do some consulting for digital marketing, social media, a little digital advertising. So that's my story.
Awesome. What'd you do? So Angie's List obviously is a national brand. People across the nation would trust in them to look up, service providers and those kind of things. What was your role there?
So I was the social media specialist. This was my first, I was a social media specialist at Hoosier Lottery before this, but this was my first real experience in a really large brand and that had a decent marketing team. So I was one of 3 or 4 social media folks. And I was really called to grow the local strategy. So they wanted to grow audiences in like Dallas and St. Louis and different markets. And so I had to come up with strategies that would grow audiences, grow their social platforms. Also worked with Angie on, day-to-day social media. But it was a really good experience because I was one of 3 or 4 social people in a team of, 50 plus marketers, which you learn a ton of stuff from people like that. And technically, Angie's List is a tech company with a service angle. So I picked up a lot of skills there and a lot of friends there and people that I still work with from now and then.
So you said it was 2010.
And so Angie's List was 2013 for me.
But for 2010, you were graduating school.
Yep.
Or nearing the end of a journalism degree, and you thought, oh crap.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much oh crap. It was, I think I came out of school in 2010 undergrad, and the 2008, 2007 stock market stuff was scary, getting a job out of that. So I went to grad school to make my resume look better. I've always tried to make my resume look as good as possible. So I came out and I was like, okay, if I have a master's degree, people will take me a little bit more seriously. So I did a ton of internships in 2010, 2011. So I was with the Pacers, I was with Sports Corp, worked at Super Bowl, I was with IUPUI, all kinds of stuff. But I decided to do digital because that's the way it was going. And, I'm not like some kind of a fortune teller to see that. That's just, I mean, Facebook was big then. Twitter had already come out. Instagram was, I don't think even Instagram was around then. But it just made sense. I wasn't a good writer, but I was a good planner and organizer and strategist. So I decided let's do social and see where that takes us.
And here we are in the social media world.
10 years later.
Consumed in it, and businesses thrive on it.
Yeah.
And they're very successful because of it. So, yeah, that's my goal today, guys, with Jared, is for him to give us the tips and tricks that a real estate broker themselves or a real estate brokerage or a team leader could use to help market themselves. So let's ask kind of like a general question. What do you think are the simplest things someone can do in social media, in real estate, to just start getting their name out there? We'll get advanced later, but just kind of start.
Well, it's just getting to know. So whatever network or channel you want to be on, focus on that one and have a plan and a strategy. So a lot of times people will say, oh man, I really, really want to be on Twitter because that's where all the action is. I really, really want to be on Facebook because that's where the audience is. But you need to have a plan and a strategy. Don't just do it because everyone else is doing it. You need to have an objective and a plan. We can get into the different types of plans later, but knowing why you're on a channel and having a clear objective. So I teach a social media class at IUPUI in the School of Informatics, and that is the number one thing I say is we start our class and say, okay, why do we want to learn how to be on social? Or what is our objective? Because ultimately we have a business goal. You guys want to sell houses, you want leads, you want people to show up at your open houses. So how can social media help that? Obviously, just because you tweet something doesn't mean you're going to sell a home, but you might make a connection with someone who knows someone, and your name will grow, and you'll build an audience. And if you're providing value to folks, ultimately you can achieve your objectives. But you're not going to sell a home with one tweet or one Facebook post.
Sure.
It's just one piece of the whole pie.
So you're saying that basically you have to know what you're trying to accomplish before you even jump in.
Absolutely.
So let's ask you things that real estate agents generally want to accomplish. So the first thing is, how do I generate more leads? You know, agents want leads. They want people to call upon. A lot of agents shy away from cold calling. So they want a more warm experience. You know, we can have a debate on if a lead is actually warm or not.
Right.
I think they're all pretty much equal in my mind. But let's say an agent wants to generate some leads in Facebook. What do you think are some ways they can go about doing that?
So they just need to plug into the community that they want to, that they're active in. So Plainfield here, there's a ton of Facebook groups where people are making recommendations for their favorite plumber or someone that they use for this service. If an agent wants to be, they want to earn leads, and these are actually really warm leads. A recommendation, word of mouth is everything. So if you can plug yourself into a community and provide value to that community, so I'm talking like Facebook groups, friends and family, that kind of stuff is really,
like town chatter pages.
Exactly. Like you need to provide value. You don't just say, hey, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a broker, and I service these areas. No, you want to come in and provide value and say, hey, here's what the market looks like. Here's where I can help. Or, you know, this neighborhood is doing really well. It's time to get in. Or rates are as low as they've ever been. Here's some value for you. I'm not going to ask anything in return, but I'm going to give you value. And ultimately, people remember your name. And if you're consistent in providing value to folks, they'll be like, okay, well, that Patrick Keller guy told me about the market, and okay, it's time to sell or buy. And now I'm going to go to Patrick because he's blocking and tackling and doing everything right on social media or Facebook, and he's in my community. You don't even need to treat it like a lead. They're in your pocket.
It's like a referral.
Yeah.
Do you, and I wouldn't know the answer to this. How often do you think is appropriate for that? Let's say you want to target a specific town in the state that you're in, and you get involved in their chatter page, and you can post freely there.
Yeah.
How frequently do you think they need to do that?
I mean, I don't think there needs to be and this is one of my pet peeves with social media and social media experts, which I consider myself to be one, but the frequency of doing something like that has to be authentic and organic. It's not like you need to hit your quota of, commenting 5 times on the Plainfield chatter page. It's, okay, where can you provide value? And did you miss an opportunity to provide value? If so, maybe pay attention to it more, because it might be dry for weeks at a time, and then all of a sudden there's a chance for you to provide value. So I don't think there's a number, but I think being an active member of that community is important. So if you think about an in real life community, in IRL, that's the digital lingo, IRL, in real life, like if you're a member of a community, you want to show up and be consistent. And I know you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce here, and you're active, and they can count on you for something. It's the same thing with digital. If you're showing up and you're active and you're providing value, people will lean on you for your services. And if you disappear for months at a time and then, okay, now I need to earn business, it doesn't work like that. You have to be consistent and active.
It's like being timely.
Yeah.
If there's information to share it.
Yeah.
If there's places to inject. Don't just inject because you.
Yeah. It's not about you. In those communities, it is not about you. It's about the community's needs and how can you provide value.
Yeah. I mean, things that we would do would be market stats.
Yeah.
So we'd share what's going on in that town, share the interest rates, share even, and I hear a lot of podcasts talking about this, and I don't think it's incredibly value, but some people talk about being like the digital mayor of the town. Yeah. So you're like, hey, here's the new brewery. I think that's kind of valuable, but I think that it's not really something that they want to hear a real estate agent talking about. That's my own personal opinion.
Well, if you're providing value, I mean, if they're looking to you for best breweries, then what are they looking to you for then? Anyway?
Sure. Yeah.
There's a balance there, but if they can see you as any kind of expert or knowledgeable on your town, that's helpful.
Is there any way in Facebook or any of these groups that you're aware of that you could be notified like immediately when there's a need?
Oh, that's hard. I don't think Facebook has a very tight walled garden of data. So they're not exporting that kind of stuff, that data. Their API isn't like flagging stuff. But this is something I do with Reddit a lot, with forums. So you can set up RSS feeds and tools through If This Then That is a really cool tool. Yep. So if someone posts on Reddit, I worked with a smart lock company previously. I'm looking for a smart lock in Indianapolis. You can create a rule that says anytime someone posts something about a smart lock or any kind of keyword, it'll shoot you a message or a notification or shoot you a text, and then you can go and engage with that person. So no to Facebook because of their data, but yes to the wide world of the internet and these kind of communities. So that's what I would recommend is if there's an agent that has, if you all wanted to find people specifically searching for homes in Plainfield or trying to sell their home in Plainfield, people are asking for recommendations on Reddit and these kind of forums all the time. And you can set up really quick rules to tap into that and be the first there. A funny story, this has nothing to do with real estate, but I did this. I was selling a bike, or I was trying to buy a bike, a fat bike. And I set up a Craigslist rule and it said, like, anytime someone has this exact bike I want, I was the first person with the best offer. So it's something that can tie to Craigslist as well.
Yeah. If this, then that.
I don't know if that's is Craigslist a hot real estate?
Yeah, I mean, we actually, Craigslist more so on the listing side and generating leads is not bad.
Yeah.
Like if you post your listings out there on Craigslist, people will find them and occasionally reach out to you. And so that's how you get like buyer leads, people that want to buy houses. I think there's a way inside of Facebook that you, like in a group, you can set up a notification thing in Facebook that says when someone posts, I want to be notified or whatever.
Oh, yeah, if like a specific person posts, right?
Or like a group posts or something like that.
Yep.
That would be fantastic. That RSS feed thing, guys, it's like a $10,000 idea in itself.
Well, it's if this then that, and then there's Zapier, which I think is a paid tool. But
yeah,
if this and that was always like my go-to. It made me look so smart, and I really wasn't doing anything.
Sure.
What's that growth?
It's leveraging technology.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be awesome to set those up potentially in forums. You guys could hit up Jared after this to look to see what that would look like. But the other thing would be setting up notifications in these private groups that say, well, basically, just let me know when anybody posts anything.
Yeah.
Because somebody might say, I need a plumber or a drywaller. Mm-hmm. There's an opportunity to inject, value there. Hey, I'm an agent in the area. I have used them before. Here's their number. Let me know if you need anything.
Yeah. I feel like you real estate folks have all the connections, the painters and the plumbers. And I've got firsthand experience with that. So that's a good place to add value.
So that's free. Those are free leads, and they take some time, right?
Yeah.
To generate. There's got to be opportunity there. What about paid stuff? Like paid lead advertising that you can do in social media?
Yeah. So Facebook, because of the amount of data that we're giving them every single day, whether passively or directly, has the best data out there for knowing where someone is in their consumer life cycle. So I can tell you, where Patrick lives and what websites he's clicking on and his demographics and all that kind of stuff. But Facebook is gold mine of data advertising. I would recommend using Ads Manager and getting familiar with Facebook Ads Manager, but boosting posts to specific neighborhoods and retargeting is always really helpful. I think people think retargeting is difficult to do, and it is absolutely not. Like just making sure that there's a plan for it all, not just you're just shooting out your name and your links to just anyone, because we have the data and we know where people are in their life cycle. So we can specifically target people in different journeys or in different places of their journey. Yeah.
Fortunately, that's been harder since after Trump got elected. I mean, it's been like 3 years where Facebook really cracked down on those things. Do you have any ideas, and I can, pitch in too and share, but do you have like ideas of the kind of people you target in Facebook?
I haven't done a lot of real estate work on Facebook advertising. But I mean, it's just whatever you can brainstorm. So you and I had a brainstorm session a couple of weeks ago about who we're targeting and what we're going through, but sitting down and thinking through who's likely to need to list and what are the neighborhoods and what do they look like? And can we create a lookalike off of that? Which is a cool thing in Facebook. But I'll lean on you for that.
Yeah, I mean, we generally right now we're just targeting like Zillow, people that are interested in Zillow.
Yeah.
People that are interested in Trulia, Realtor.com. Mm-hmm. People that are pregnant.
Yeah.
People that got a new job.
That's
those things that generally trigger a move.
Yeah.
People that are interested in like Lowe's, mm-hmm. Home Depot, because people that rent houses, they don't go to Lowe's or Home Depot, to do anything to the house. They're going to do the bare minimum. So we target people that have home ownership qualities or are currently looking online. It's unfortunately it's not fail safe because people could land on Zillow by accident, and Facebook recognizes that. But there's some more intent there.
Yeah. So you're talking about people in specific life moments, which is brilliant. So you find the life moment of someone moving, or you find the life moment of someone getting a new job and potentially moving, and then you just play it out from there. I think your brokerage does a really good job of getting people to your website and then targeting them from that. So if you can get any kind of first party data on them, and then you've completely wiped out the waste of hitting someone who has no chance of ever listing or buying. If you can get them to give you a piece of data and you can quantify that and say, okay, I think they're moving, and you can segment your data, and you don't have to worry about targeting people that are going to waste your money.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically it's like if they land on our site, we know that they've landed on our website, and we have an organization that you guys could hire. This organization is called Sierra Interactive. You could talk to Jared a little bit about it. You could talk to really a lot of digital marketing experts about this, but basically you can compile the data of the people that have been on your website, whether you have a home search tool or not, and then retarget them on Facebook because they've had some kind of interest in real estate. And so that your ads only pop up to those people and not people that could possibly be interested in real estate.
And I think that goes to the point of owning your own data and owning like email addresses and getting all of that organized. Because if you have, I know you have a decent sized mailing list, and if you provide content and value, those people are way more likely to respond positively to any kind of message you put out there than random people that have maybe never heard of you. So owning data and the emails and physical addresses of folks is really, really, really important. And it's worth its weight in gold. I guess it doesn't really weigh anything, but it is super, super valuable, especially for the amount of revenue and profit you can get from one home sale. It's
sure
the ROI is through the roof on one email address.
Data is worth billion. I mean, it's like $1 trillion industry.
That's why Zuckerberg is worth trillions.
Yeah. How about would you have any ideas on how an agent could utilize social media, any platform that you like, to just advertise themselves? So brand recognition. What kind of social media platforms or any platforms do you think are best for brand recognition for agents?
So I'm not recommending this as a channel for folks, but TikTok, I've seen a lot of realtors on TikTok, and they're just providing like funny, cool market stuff, and they're picking up the trends. I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you have a specific voice for that. But Facebook is, that's where a majority of our population is. Twitter is less likely to be a place where you're going to grow an audience for real estate. Instagram, with the beautiful homes that you all are selling, and I think that's a really good place if you can find a good style and a consistent style. That can be really, really attractive. But really, it can be any channel if you've got a good voice and you've got a plan and you're consistent and you've got a good personality. I am a shy and quiet person, so I'm not really great on social media, but the people that have really strong, thoughtful personalities on social media really do well. So it's just having a plan and sticking to it.
So, for the past few years in the real estate podcast world and pretty much everywhere, they've said, you got to go video, you got to do video, more video. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that that's true? Do you think that there is maybe too much emphasis on video? What do you think?
It's just got to be done right. If you're doing video and it's boring and blah and there's no personality to it, then I don't want to say you're wasting your time, but you're wasting your time. Like, video is cool because you can connect emotionally a little bit deeper than just reading a tweet or seeing a couple photos on Facebook. Video has a different level of connection. And if you can really do a good job on it, it doesn't matter the platform. You can excel on YouTube, you can excel on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of this. But video is very important. It just has to be done well and thought through. I think your marketing or your updates on the market are really strong. I know they're a little bit longer form, but those are super helpful. And I've caught myself watching them and saying, okay, man, I didn't know that about the Plainfield market or the Indianapolis market. That kind of stuff is helpful, and you're out there doing it, which I think is great.
What do you think? What do you think the ideal video time is in social media?
It depends. It literally depends. So
let's say for folks that don't know anything about you.
Oh man, I mean, you have to think of the feed and where you're competing with or who you're competing with. So if I'm on my Facebook feed and I see a 30-minute video from a realtor that I have no idea who it is, and then I see a video of like a prank or a fail. Like obviously I'm going to watch the funny fail video and completely skip over the 30-minute real estate video. So I can't say like a length, but shorter is sweeter on TikTok, obviously because it has to be. Instagram a little bit shorter, but you have to provide value and you have to convey that value fairly early on in the video. I can't answer that.
So you have to have kind of like a hook right out the gate.
Yeah.
And hook is a negative word, but you have to have something that catches their attention if it's going to be long.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do a long one, maybe create a 30-second bite-sized video of that and say, here's the takeaways, quick hits, and get in and out, and then point them to your website where the 30-minute video is. I mean, short form is better right now, but that's changed back and forth over the past 10 years.
Yeah, so I mean, guys, if you were going to do, what I'd recommend is if you're going to do like a video updating someone on the market, it might be a good idea to get to the juiciest part of that video, take that snippet, 5 seconds of it, slap it at the beginning of your video. Mm-hmm. If you're creative enough, or you could get someone to help you right after that 5 seconds, it might be good to go to a cool logo flash with some music for like 2 to 3 seconds and then go into your long form stuff. But you have to give them the juiciest thing first, you think?
Yep. Yeah.
To get them
hooked. Give them a reason to watch. Or just take your long video and create a bunch of different smaller videos so you have consistent content to post throughout.
Over time.
Yeah, and then point it to one place that they can see the longer form one. There's a ton of different ways to go about that.
Where do you think social media is headed?
Oh boy.
You think anything's going to change? You think, are there new platforms that people are considering in business now to advertise in, or are they staying true to what's out there?
I mean, I think they're staying true to what's out there for now. A year ago, if you'd have told me brands were on TikTok and were earning business on TikTok, I would have laughed at you. But a brand can, if they have a good strategy, can earn hundreds of thousands of followers very, very quickly on TikTok. It's unprecedented how quickly brands are growing on that platform. YouTube's not going anywhere. Facebook's not going anywhere. Instagram's not going anywhere. Those I would say that's where it's going and staying, but it changes every day. And if I knew, I would pump all of my money into that place and be a really rich person. But I think video is good. Just having a good, consistent content strategy and good, consistent voice, because then you can translate that to any channel that comes out. So if you're providing value and you've got a good voice, it really doesn't matter because you can just create the content for the new channel or whatever's new now. But having an audience and being a part of a community is very, very important, and I think brokers should aim to do that.
So a blend between natural, value-based community insertions of your knowledge, right? Yeah. So just like small local things, but also at the same time, lots of content that you can provide to people over a long period of time to build your brand.
Yeah.
Kind of doubled together.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. If you can find the balance on what kind of content does best. Obviously, if you come up with a plan and you've said, I'm going to do these videos and that's all I'm going to do, but then no one watches them, you need to have the flexibility to shift. Yeah. So I preach that social strategy, I want people to create documents and I want to work with them to create a social strategy document, knowing that in 6 months it's going to change because we're going to look at the data and say, your audience is shifting this way and we need to cater to that, or your objective isn't being hit. So it's just constantly looking at the data and refreshing your strategy and how it pertains to your objective and goals.
So this is a really tough question that I didn't prepare you for.
Oh boy.
What do you think is a good example of like a first week's content calendar for an agent? What would Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday look like?
Oh boy, that's hard. So let's assume that they're going to be on Facebook. I would just I would at least have one video for each week. I'm going back on what I said. Like, you shouldn't have a set frequency, but
just to give people, like, because people are listening to this and they're like, I want a concrete action that I can take because I want to try it.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that this is something I can commit to.
Yeah.
And so just something that they can take and say, what can I do this week in social media?
So this week, before the week even starts, find 5 to 10 Facebook groups or communities that you can join and tap into and figure out and listen to and figure out how you can provide value in the long term. Start listening to them. You don't need to jump in and start, throwing your brand at their face. Jump in and listen and figure out where you can fit in and what value you can provide. And then throughout the week, find those places to provide that value. I've found that some brands don't need a full-time social media person because you can get your social media done in 15 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. If you're active and providing value, post here's what I'm seeing in the market to that Facebook group. And then, later in the day, see what's going on there. Post something, we just listed this house. Post a review from one of your clients. Think about content as you're going through in real life. And how can I leverage these relationships I have with people that have sold? How can I create content out of them? Which sounds weird, but we need to be able to translate our in real life communities to digital communities and show them that we are active in their community and we're somebody that they can think of for real estate. Video once a week. I would do a lot of photo of homes that they like, homes that they just sold, trends, anything that can show that you're active in this community that people are paying attention to and that you're an expert. So you just fake it till you make it.
Yeah, you just said multiple things that take you through a whole week. Yeah. So, like one day you could post a happy review. Mm-hmm. And literally like screen grab that from the place that they left the review, post it as an image probably, right?
Yeah.
And then say, always happy to have these amazing clients and leave it at that.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Easy. That takes like 30 seconds.
Next day you could post a listing. It doesn't have to be your listing. It can be someone else's listing if you want to ask the listing agent for permission to do so. But post a pretty listing that's going to get some clicks. Drive them to your website if you have one. If not, heck, you can drive them to your board of realtors site. Mm-hmm. Wherever you can potentially grab a lead or at least provide some value on a pretty listing. The next day, a market update video. Hey, this is what's going on in the market. These are the average prices. This is the average sales price. This is the average days on market, all of those things. You had mentioned one day for your social media plan. You could just say, on Thursdays, I'm just going to go inject some value into a group.
Bingo.
Like, I'm not even going to say anything about myself, but I'm going to surf these groups and say, hey, where can I make a recommendation on something that I know?
Yep.
And then the next day, a pretty photo of a house or something that can be done with a house, like, hey, check out this bathroom remodel or a renovation. A just sold, you'd mentioned that. Hey, we just sold this house. There's your next day. And then a real estate trends photo for next day. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We just told you 7 days worth of stuff. Seriously, you could
content
probably...
calendar's done. There you go.
You could probably take that and you could probably say, we'll do this every week and just like rotate it.
Yeah.
I'll post reviews on Mondays.
And the beauty of that is if you see one of those things not doing well at all and you've been doing this for a month, cut that out and try something new and keep trying something new. The beauty about, I was going to say this earlier, the beauty about real estate is there's so much aspirational content, and aspirational content does extremely well on social. People want to picture a different life than they have now. So if you can post like the coolest home on Zillow whether you're listing it or not, that's going to get people to pay attention to you and help you in the algorithms, which we don't even need to talk about the algorithms. But
that's a whole nother podcast in itself. How about audience ages? So what do you know about the age groups of people inside of social media? Who uses what? Yeah.
So Facebook is trending older, but that doesn't mean, Gen Z and millennials are not on Facebook.
Not to cut you off, but this is a funny story. We just hired a 19-year-old agent here.
Was he on Facebook?
Nope.
Oh wow.
And that was like, I was totally blindsided by that. I was like, hey man, this is a great opportunity for you to get your Facebook business profile going. And he's like, I don't have Facebook.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys don't have Facebook? And a lot of his friends don't.
Yeah. My students, they have them, but they don't use them. They just use them to sign on to things. But Facebook's getting older. Our grandparents, our parents are on Facebook. Instagram is everyone. TikTok is way younger, so I bet he's got a TikTok. Twitter is all over the place. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for real estate, just a different beast. And YouTube is everyone. But Facebook is generally older.
Yeah, that was surprising to me. I agree with that. That was what was surprising to me is that I asked him what social media platforms he was on, and the first thing he said was YouTube.
Yeah.
And YouTube is the oldest.
Yeah.
Social. It's not. I mean, it is social, sort of in a way. It's the oldest platform out of all of these. Yeah. And to hear him saying that he's still on that was pretty fascinating. So obviously that means that a majority of the people making the moves in real estate are probably on Facebook.
Absolutely.
They're probably also on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe.
But for instructional videos.
Yeah, they're doing YouTube differently than a 19. A 19-year-old has influencers they follow and channels they follow, and they're subscribed, and they're buying their merch, and they're watching all of their videos, where someone in the boomer demographic probably doesn't even know how to subscribe to someone on YouTube. No offense to boomers.
Right.
But it's a different experience. So they're doing more of they're using YouTube as a search engine or a video search engine, whereas 19-year-old is using YouTube as how can I follow all of this content from Mr. Beast or whoever it is.
Watching video games.
Exactly. That's what I do. So.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So you think... Would you think that Facebook's probably where agents need to probably put most of their eggs?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Instagram's easy because you just pick out 10 photos throughout the week you want to share, throw them up there, schedule them out. You're golden.
Awesome. What opportunities do you think people in the real estate field are not taking advantage of in social media?
That's hard. I think the way I see real estate on social media is real estate is a very transactional business, right? You guys are selling and moving on and buying and moving on. Social media, organic social media is more of a community. So I think the things that we talk about where you can insert yourself into a community and provide value, I think there are huge opportunities for someone to completely take over a market if they're consistently providing that value. And I don't see a lot of that. I think you do a good job of that. But I think just the nature of real estate being so transactional doesn't help for an organic social strategy.
Yeah.
So you've got to think of long-term value and being a part of a community as opposed to, okay, where do I get my next lead from? And how do I tell people about myself? And I need to tell about me. And then the next sale, let's slow down. And you're not going to sell a home on your next tweet. You're going to make a positive impact on someone, and that's going to ripple throughout, social media. But transactional, I think the mindset of being a transactional, having social media be a transactional tool for them is something that folks miss out on.
Yeah, I mean, so there's other things that while you're talking about I've been thinking about, agents should absolutely, if they're in a neighborhood, they live in a neighborhood, they should absolutely be making a Facebook group for that neighborhood today. And being in charge of it, being the person who says, like, I heard this idea once, and you guys should totally steal this and use this. Like, create a neighborhood Facebook page and say, like, the first thing you post on that after you invite all the people in the neighborhood is like, community trash day.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a dumpster, and it's going to be in my front yard.
That's awesome.
And everybody in the neighborhood come bring all your heavy crap that you're just getting rid of, and I'll pay for it. You guys have a great day.
That's
and
cool.
I heard somebody do that one. I heard somebody on a podcast do that one time, and I wish I could give them credit because I cannot remember who gave me this idea. But agents should be doing more of those kind of things you're saying versus check out my website, check out this listing. Although those things are valuable, they do build brand. We're not saying don't do them.
Absolutely.
We're saying that you've also got to spend a lot of time in doing these value add things online.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea because you're taking this digital community and inviting them in real life to meet you, and that's another touch point that's really warm and positive. I think that's sharp. And
the only ask that you have is if you're going to do a community trash day, or you're going to sponsor the neighborhood trick or treat, or you're going to sponsor the neighborhood Santa Claus or something, like, I'll send you all the pictures. Just give me your email address.
Yeah.
And then like 4 months later, you shoot them an email and you say, hey, here's who we are. Put them on a drip campaign in your CRM or any of those kind of things over time. But it's not about asking immediately.
Bingo. Yeah. As long as it's combined with, ultimately, they need to know that you sell homes and you buy homes. But yeah, as long as you have that positive experience with them, that's awesome.
4 months might be a little long.
Yeah.
Don't do that, guys. Do like a month.
Yeah. If you have their
15
data,
days.
If you have their data, then you're golden. Like you put them in a drip campaign right away. You encourage them to follow you on whatever channel you're active on. Get them in your email campaigns. Get them on mailers. Maybe they'll never sell a home with you, but they'll tell their friend, word of mouth.
Sure.
They'll give you a recommendation. They'll give you a referral.
And with that data from this value add activity that you've created or referral, you can retarget on Facebook, which we could have a whole nother podcast about, but like you could say, hey, I'm going to set up a campaign and it's only going to show to these email addresses.
Yep.
And you can do that for a year and it'll just drip the things that you want in front of them. So the opportunities are endless. And I love the idea that you have that it's all got to stem from contribution versus gimme.
Transaction, yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't play well. I'll tell you, that does not play well with people that are trying to earn a transaction. It doesn't play well in marketing departments because you cannot prove an ROI. Well, you almost can now, but you can't say, hey, I had this cool community event, and a week later your boss is like, okay, well, how many homes did you sell from that?
Right.
You have to be doing all of the other transactional stuff. But if you're doing the cool value add stuff, this transactional stuff is going to just keep rising and rising and rising. So it doesn't play well.
Do you have any examples of organizations either here locally or like nationally that do a really good job of that?
Oh man, yeah.
Because I'm sitting here thinking in my head, I'm like, literally what went through my head is, I just got this shirt from Old Navy, and I get Old Navy ads on Facebook, and I don't think I've ever seen an ad where it's like, come buy these shirts.
Yeah.
It's like, step into this new whatever.
I think Patagonia does a good job. They don't push their product. They push the experience of being an outdoorsy, progressive, forward-thinking environmentalist. Eli Lilly does their Lilly Day of Service, and they contribute, massively to the city of Indianapolis. I'm just thinking of a few others, but yeah, they're investing in their community that they live in and not the next shirt they sell, because they would rather you think valuably of them and buy 10 shirts down the road than, okay, I'm just going to buy the cheapest shirt.
The one checkout deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the lifetime of a customer for someone at Patagonia versus the lifetime value of a customer at, someone like Dick's Sporting Goods is there might be a comparison to be made there, but
sure,
those are measurable things.
Man, that's good stuff. So let me ask you another question, and then we'll wrap it up. How long do you think, and this is probably more so an opinion question, how long do you think like organic contribution content, contributive, is that a word? Content? Community content. How long do you think that takes to pay off for a real estate broker?
A lifetime. Like seriously, like
it's never ending.
You just do it and you'll find opportunities. It could be a day or it could be months. Like it's so loose and soft, but that's the stuff that you should be doing. You should be checking off all of the boxes. You should have your paid search. You should have your SEO tightened up. You should have a really clean website. You should have a good email campaign. You should be giving people the opportunity on social media to see your listings and contact you. But you should also set yourself apart by having this really good experience with them. Mm-hmm. So it depends.
It's a big job.
It's a big job, but if you spend a little bit of time every day and let's say I'm going to do 10 minutes of, scouring social media for where I can fit in, or creating a tiny piece of content today that can provide value, or asking for value from your audience, saying, hey, what are you guys seeing out there in the market? Like, what am I missing? Like, give me value so I can share with my audience. It just takes time, and it's a slow build. But once you're known as someone that people can rely on and gets value from, it's invaluable.
I think this totally flips a lot of people's idea on its head. Of they feel like they have to spend so much time planning the content, and they have to spend so much time like making their video pretty or their pictures pretty or all of these things. Mm-hmm. And I think that this idea is do those things quickly.
Yeah.
Because when people do come to you, they want to see that you have something, mm-hmm. like you've got a base, but you should really be spending more time in the contribution.
Oh yeah, the value.
Versus the
prettiness.
Versus the things.
Bingo.
And that's a great takeaway. Is there anything else you'd want to share with us that you can think of?
I mean, I'm not a real estate expert, but I think you all are doing good stuff here at Crest Point, and I think people could look at you all as a model and do what you're doing. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, man. It's been really, really fun. You guys are always welcome to check out our Facebook page for our real estate brokerage. You could actually just look up mine. It's Patrick Keller, Crest Point Real Estate, if you just want some ideas of what we do in our business. Jared, thanks so much for coming on board. Could you tell people really quickly how to get a hold of you if they'd like to pick your brain in digital marketing? Yeah, so I'm most active on Twitter, and my handle is Jared Hay. It's just at Jared Hay. And then my email is jaredehay@gmail.com. But I'll tweet with you all day. Awesome. Thanks, Jared. Guys, thanks for listening. I hope this was valuable and insightful. You guys have a really successful week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.